The phone rang while I was standing by the photocopy machine at work. I almost ignored it. My hands were full. My mind was full too, full of paint colours, curtain choices, and a long list of little things we still needed for the new house. We had moved in only a week ago. I was tired, but it was the good kind of tired. The kind that comes from building something you worked hard for. Then the screen lit up with a number I did not save. Something in my chest felt tight for no clear reason. I wiped my fingers on my skirt and answered, "Hello?" At first I only heard breathing, slow, shaky breathing, like someone was trying not to cry. "Madam, it's me," a woman said softly. Her voice was careful, like every word was heavy. "Who is this?" I asked. There was a small pause, then she said, "Mrs. Delaney, the one who sold you the house." The room around me seemed to fade. The loud office noises became far away. Only her voice stayed close. "Oh," I said, trying to sound normal. "Good afternoon. Is everything okay?" She did not reply right away. I heard her swallow. "No," she whispered. "Everything is not okay." My heart began to beat faster. I looked around to see if anyone was watching me. My co-workers were talking near the printer. Someone laughed. Life was normal for them. But for me, the air suddenly felt thin. "What happened?" I asked. Her voice shook. I forgot something. Something very bad." "A paper?" I tried. "A key?" "No," she said quickly. "Not that. A camera." I froze. "A camera?" I repeated. My mouth was dry. "Yeah," she said, and her breathing became faster. "A hidden camera? Inside the house." The words hit me like cold water. Hidden camera. Inside the house. My fingers tightened around the phone so hard it hurt. "Why would there be a hidden camera in my house?" I asked, but the question came out small, like a child asking for comfort. "I installed it long ago," she said, "before I sold. I was scared back then. There were things happening. I needed to watch my own house." My thoughts started running in circles. My new home, my fresh start, my walls, my living room, my safe place. I wanted to yell at her. I wanted to hang up. I wanted to pretend I never heard this. But then she said the next words. "And I forgot to turn it off." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean you forgot?" I said. My voice was not calm anymore. "I mean—" She sounded like she was in pain. "It stayed connected. It stayed on. And today, I opened an old app on my phone by mistake. It showed me a recording. A new recording. I couldn't breathe properly. "A recording of what?" I asked. She took a shaky breath. "Of your living room." My eyes went wide. I stared at the wall in front of me, like it might answer for me. "My living room," I whispered. "Yes," she said. And I saw your husband." My throat tightened even more. "Bio, my husband. What did he do?" I asked. The silence on the line was the kind that screams without sound. "Madam," Mrs. Delaney said, "please listen to me carefully. I don't want trouble. I don't want to fight. I cannot keep quiet after what I saw." My heartbeat was so loud I could hear it in my ears. "Say it," I told her. "What did you see?" Her voice dropped even lower. "I saw him do something while you were not at home, while you were at work. Something hidden something that made me feel sick. Cold fear crawled up my arms. Are you saying he brought someone into the house? I asked. My voice cracked. I can't say it like that, she replied. Not on the phone, but yes, it involved someone else, and it involved the house. I blinked fast, trying to keep control. I did not want to cry in the middle of the office. Not here, not where people could see me break. I'm coming home now, I said quickly. No, she said sharply. The words stopped me. No, you must not go home first, she said, urgent now. You must come to me, right now. My lips parted. Why? Because if you go home, you might act normal, she said, or you might act angry. And if he notices, he will hide everything. He will erase it. He will change the story before you even understand what happened. I felt dizzy. I held the side of the photocopy machine for support. Mrs. Delaney continued. Come to my place. I will show you the video. You must see it with your own eyes. My mind screamed video, proof. But another part of my mind screamed louder. Why is she still able to see inside my house? And one more thing, she said. What? My voice was barely a sound. Come alone, she said. Do not bring anyone. Do not tell him. Do not even hint. If he knows you spoke to me, I don't know what he will do. I swallowed hard. Are you threatening me? No, she said quickly, almost crying. No, madam, I'm warning you, I'm scared. I sold that house to escape a feeling I could not explain. And now I feel it again. Like the house is watching? That sounded crazy. But my fear did not care if it sounded crazy. My brain tried to hold on to something normal, something simple. Where is the camera? I asked. Tell me where it is so I can remove it. I don't know exactly, she said, miserable. It was hidden. I hired someone. I never touched it again after it worked. I only saw the view on my phone. My knees felt weak. Around me, someone called my name. Auntie Amara, are you coming for the meeting? I flinched. I covered the phone with my hand and forced a smile. Yes, 1 minute. Then I turned away, facing a corner by the supply shelf. My voice went hard again. Mrs. Delaney, I said, why are you telling me now? Because the video showed something that can ruin your life, she whispered, and it can ruin mine too, if I stay quiet. The word ruin landed like a stone. My husband, my house, my life. I tried to picture Bio's face this morning. He kissed my cheek before I left for work. He called me my queen. He smiled. He even offered to wash the plates later. Was that real? Or was it acting? I'm at work, I said slowly. Give me your address. She gave it to me in a low voice. I repeated it to make sure I heard right. When she finished, she said one last thing, like she was forcing the words out. Madam, when you see the video, please don't scream. Please don't call him. Please don't go back to the house yet. I closed my eyes. Why? Because, she whispered, what he did, it looked practiced, like he has done it before. My stomach twisted painfully. I opened my eyes and stared down at the floor tiles. They looked like they were moving. Okay, I said, even though nothing felt okay. I'm coming. And delete nothing, she added fast. If you have any smart devices at home, don't touch them. Don't reset anything. Just come." The call ended. I stood there holding the phone, not even breathing. In my head, I could still hear her words. Hidden camera, your living room, your husband, practiced. I slowly put the phone in my bag. My fingers felt numb. My mouth tasted like metal. Then I walked into my boss's office and told a small lie with a big smile. "Sir," I said, "I have a family emergency. I need to go now." He looked surprised, but I didn't wait for questions. I picked up my bag and left. Outside, the sun was bright. People were walking, talking, buying snacks, laughing. Everything looked normal. But my world had changed in one phone call. As I got into a taxi, my hands shook so much I had to press them together. I told the driver the address Mrs. Delaney gave me. The taxi moved forward, and with every second, one thought grew louder in my head. If there was a hidden camera in my house, what else was hidden there too? The taxi smell of heat and dust filled my nose as we moved through traffic. I held my bag tight on my lap, like it could stop my hands from shaking. Outside, people crossed the road with plastic bags of groceries. A schoolboy ran past with a snack in his mouth. Life was normal for them. For me, nothing was normal anymore. I kept seeing the words on Mrs. Delaney's tongue like they were written in bold letters. Hidden camera. Your living room, your husband. I tried to tell myself it could be a misunderstanding. Maybe she saw him fixing something. Maybe it was not what I thought. But her voice had not sounded confused. It had sounded scared. The taxi hit a small bump and I swallowed hard. My throat felt tight, like I had eaten something sharp. I looked down at my phone. I wanted to call Bio right away. I wanted to hear his voice. I wanted to ask, "Where are you?" And, "What are you doing?" But Mrs. Delaney had said, "Don't tell him anything." I forced myself to put the phone back in my bag. My fingers felt heavy like they belonged to someone else. As the taxi rolled on, my mind slipped backward to the week before the phone call, before the fear, when the house still felt like a gift from God. We moved into the new house on a Saturday morning. I still remember the way the keys felt in my palm, cold, shiny, and real. I stood at the gate and stared at the building like I was looking at a dream that finally decided to stay. I had worked for it. I saved small for years. Some months I said no to new clothes. Some months I carried food from home instead of buying lunch. I did it quietly, without noise, because I didn't want anyone to laugh at me if the plan failed. When we opened the front door for the first time, sunlight spilled across the floor like warm water. The living room smelled like fresh paint. The windows were big. The walls were clean. Kemi danced inside like a little bird set free. "Grandma, Grandma," she shouted, running from one room to another. "This place is huge." "Not huge," I laughed, pretending to be strict. "Just enough." But inside my heart, I was glowing. Beo carried boxes in with a bright smile. He kissed my cheek in front of Kemi and said, "My wife, you are a strong woman. You did well." That day I wanted to believe him completely. I wanted to believe we were starting over. A new house, a new peace. But even on that first day, small things felt off. Not big enough to call trouble, just small enough to ignore. For example, the smoke alarm in the hallway looked like it was not sitting straight. It leaned a little, like someone touched it recently and did not fix it well. When I pointed at it, Beo waved his hand. "Leave it," he said. Those things are always like that. Another thing was the shelf in the living room. It was empty, but under it were tiny scratch marks on the wall like something had been removed. I asked Bio if he noticed. It's an old house, he said, even though the place didn't look old at all. Stop looking for problems. His voice was still soft, but I didn't like the words. Stop looking. That night when the house was quiet, I walked through the rooms alone. I touched the walls. I opened cupboards. I listened to the silence. Some houses feel like they are hugging you. This one felt like it was watching me. I told myself I was only tired. The next day, Auntie Ronka came to see the place. She clapped her hands and said, "Ah, Amara, you have upgraded." I smiled and offered her water. Kemi sat beside her asking 1,000 questions like always. Auntie Ronka walked around, nodding. Then she stopped in the living room and joked, "This house is too quiet. Quiet houses hide loud stories." We all laughed. Even Bio laughed. But later, when I was washing plates, I thought about her words again. I didn't like the way they stuck in my head. That same week, Bio started saying something new. "Let me handle the bills," he told me one evening. "You have done enough. Rest." I looked at him carefully. We always handled bills together. He smiled like it was nothing. "Yes, but now it's more. Mortgage, repairs, all that. I don't want stress to catch you." It sounded sweet, but I didn't like it. When a person suddenly wants control, it is not always love. Sometimes it is hiding. I told him, "I will still check the accounts." His smile stayed on his face, but it got thinner. "Why?" he asked, still soft. "Do you not trust me?" The question felt like a trap. If I said yes, I would look rude. If I said no, I would be blind. So I laughed lightly and said, "It is not trust. It is habit. I like to know." He nodded, but his eyes moved away too fast. 2 days later, I was standing outside the gate when a neighbour greeted me, an older woman with a tired face and a scarf tied tight. "Welcome," she said. "So you bought it?" "Yes," I replied proudly. "We moved in last week." She hesitated, then said, "The previous owner. She left in a hurry." "In a hurry?" I asked. The neighbour looked around the street as if the air could hear her. She used to complain about devices, signals, things in the walls. I forced a small laugh. Maybe she was just stressed. The neighbour shrugged. Maybe, but she was always nervous. That night I told Bio what the neighbour said. His reaction was too quick. He laughed loudly and said, "Ah, people like stories, don't mind them." Then he added, "Please, Amara, let us enjoy our new home." I watched him. He was smiling, but something in his smile felt pushed, like a door being closed in my face. And now, sitting in that taxi, I realized something that made my skin go cold. Maybe the house was not just quiet. Maybe the house had been keeping secrets long before I arrived. Mrs. Delaney lived in a small flat behind a tall iron gate. The paint on the gate was peeling, and the bell sounded like it was tired. When I stepped inside, the hallway smelled like old soap and warm wood. She opened the door before I even knocked fully, like she had been standing there waiting. Her face looked different from the day she handed me the house keys. Back then, she wore lipstick and smiled like everything was fine. Today her lips were pale, her eyes were swollen. Like she had cried and then tried to hide it. "You came?" she said. "Yes," I replied, and my voice sounded too calm for how I felt inside. Show me. She looked past me down the hallway as if expecting someone else to appear behind me. You came alone? She asked. Yes, I said again. Like you said. Her shoulders dropped, a little bit of relief mixing with fear. She moved aside so I could enter. Inside her flat, everything was neat, but it didn't feel peaceful. The curtains were drawn even though it was daytime. A small fan was turning slowly, making a soft clicking sound. On the table was a phone, a charger, and a mug that looked untouched. Mrs. Delaney pointed to a chair. Sit. I did not sit. Play it, I said. Her hands shook as she picked up the phone. She tapped the screen twice, then paused. She looked at me like she wanted to apologize. I swear, she said quickly, I did not watch you every day. I didn't. I forgot it existed. My chest burned with anger, but I swallowed it down. I needed the truth more than I needed to shout. Play it, I repeated. She took a deep breath and turned the phone screen toward me. The video was paused. The picture showed a room I knew too well. My living room. My couch with the brown throw pillow I picked myself. The corner table where Kemi put her school bag. The curtain with small flowers that I chose because it made the room look warm. My mouth went dry. My skin felt tight. It was like seeing my own face in a mirror that shouldn't exist. That is my house, I whispered. Mrs. Delaney nodded. Yes. My eyes moved around the screen, trying to understand the angle. The view was from high up, looking down. It was not from a window. It was inside the room, watching. I forced myself to breathe. Then I saw movement. Bio walked into the frame. He was wearing the blue shirt he often wore at home, the one I ironed last Sunday. He looked around first, slowly, like someone checking if they were alone. My heart began to pound again. Bio sat on the couch for a moment, then stood up quickly like he remembered something. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He tapped the screen and I could tell he put it on speaker because I heard another voice. But the voice did not sound clear. It was low and scratchy, like the call was breaking. It sounded like someone trying not to be recognized. Are you there? The voice said. Bio answered, Yes, I'm inside. Inside. Not, I'm home. Inside. That word hit me in a strange way, like he was not talking about a house he belonged to, like he was talking about a place he entered for a job. My fingers curled into my palm. The voice said something again, but it was hard to catch. I leaned closer. Then Bio replied, I know. I know the time she won't be back yet. My stomach twisted. She was me? Bio walked to the corner of the living room near the wall. The same corner where the carpet always sat a little uneven no matter how many times I adjusted it. He knelt down, and then he did something I had never seen him do. He lifted a small part of the floor. It wasn't a big opening. It was a neat little panel, hidden so well it looked like normal wood, until it moved. My breath stopped. Bio reached inside the dark space and pulled out a wrapped bundle. At first, I could not tell what it was. Then he opened it a little. I saw paper edges and something that looked like money. He counted quickly, like he had done it many times. His hands moved fast and confident, not confused, not surprised, not scared, practiced, just like Mrs. Delaney said. He took some of it and tucked it into his trouser pocket. He pushed the rest back into the hidden space. Then he placed the panel back like it was nothing, smoothing it with his palm so it looked perfect again. My throat felt tight, like I wanted to cough but couldn't. Then Bio stood up and walked toward the hallway. The camera view did not show the hallway clearly, but I saw him stop beneath the smoke alarm. The one that always sat a little crooked. Yet he lifted his hand and tapped it twice. Tap, tap. I blinked fast. My mind tried to make sense of it. Why would he tap a smoke alarm? Then the voice on the phone said, "Good. Don't delay." Bio answered, "I won't, but don't call this line again." The voice made a short sound, almost like a laugh, but not happy. "You don't give orders." Bao's face tightened just for a moment. Then he forced his voice calm again. "I'm doing my part," he said. "Just keep your promise. Promise." I felt cold all over. The video ended there. The screen went black. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I could hear the small fan clicking. I could hear a car passing outside. I could hear my own breathing, loud and uneven. I stared at the phone like it might change and show something else, like it might suddenly explain everything. But it didn't. I looked up at Mrs. Delaney. "There's a hiding place in my floor." She nodded slowly. "Yes." "And my husband knows about it," I said, each word tasting bitter. "Yes," she whispered again. My hands shook as I finally sat down, not because I wanted to, but because my legs were no longer steady. "Why?" I asked, but it came out as a broken sound. "Why is he doing this? What is that bundle?" Mrs. Delaney's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know exactly what he is moving," she said, "but I know this house was used before you, and I think it is still being used now." My head felt heavy. "You said you forgot to turn off the camera." She flinched, like I slapped her with words. She looked down at her hands. "I lied," she admitted softly. The air changed. "What?" I whispered. Her voice trembled. Not fully a lie, but not fully truth. "Oh, I didn't forget, like a silly person. I left it because I was afraid. I kept it because I wanted proof of what I felt. But then I moved. I tried to start over. I told myself I would never look again." She swallowed hard. "Today the app opened by accident, yes. But once I saw it was your living room, I kept watching. And then I saw him, and I knew I couldn't stay quiet." My anger rose fast, hot and sharp. "So, you were watching my house?" "I know," she cried, wiping her face quickly. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I hate myself for it, but if I didn't, you would not know. And your husband, he is not acting like a normal man. He is acting like someone who is working for someone." I leaned forward. "Do you have more videos?" She nodded. "There are a few short ones, not many, but enough to show a pattern." "Send them to me," I said. My voice was steady now, but it was the kind of steady that comes after fear turns into something harder. Mrs. Delaney quickly tapped her phone again. "I can share the files," she said, "but please, keep them safe. If this thing is bigger than we think, you must not keep only one copy." I took out my own phone with shaking fingers. "Send everything," I told her. "Every clip, every date, every time he entered that corner." She nodded fast, like she was relieved I wasn't screaming. While she worked, my mind raced through one painful thought again and again. Bio didn't just lie to me. He brought a secret into the one place I worked so hard to make safe. And whatever he was doing, he did it with calm hands, like he had been waiting for this house. I left Mrs. Delaney's flat with my heart tied in knots. Outside, the sun was still bright, but it didn't feel warm anymore. It felt like a spotlight, like the world could see my worry on my face. In the taxi back, I did not cry, not yet. I held my tears the way you hold a cup that is too full. Careful, careful, careful. Mrs. Delaney had sent the videos to my phone. I saved them twice. I sent them to a secret email I never used before. Then I sent them to a second place too, just in case. It felt strange doing all that, like I was suddenly living inside a movie. But this was my real life. And in real life, proof can disappear fast. My mind kept returning to one thing: Bio's hands. The way he lifted the floor panel like he knew exactly where to press. The way he counted the bundle like it was normal. The way he tapped the smoke alarm twice. Tap, tap. That was not fear, that was practice. Shit, when I got home, I forced myself to act normal. I opened the gate with a steady hand. I walked in with a steady step. I even nodded at the neighbour like nothing was wrong. Inside, the house smelled like yesterday's cooking. The living room looked peaceful, innocent, like it never held secrets. Kemi's slippers were near the sofa. The curtains were half open. Light sat gently on the floor. I stood there for a second and stared at the corner where the hidden panel was. I wanted to rip the floor open right away. I wanted to pull out whatever was inside. I wanted to scream Bio's name and demand answers. But I didn't. I remembered Mrs. Delaney's warning. If he noticed, he would hide everything. He would turn the story around. So I became quiet. Quiet does not mean weak. Quiet can be smart. Bio came out from the kitchen with a smile, wiping his hands with a towel. "Amara," he said, cheerful. "You are back early? Everything okay at work?" My stomach turned, but I kept my face smooth. "Yes," I lied. "Just tired." He walked closer and kissed my forehead. "You work too hard." I nodded. "Maybe." Kemi came running from her room. "Grandma, you're home." I hugged her tight, too tight. She pulled back and looked up at me. "Are you sick?" she asked. "No," I said quickly and smiled. "Just tired, my dear." Kemi's eyes stayed on me a little too long. That child noticed everything. She might be young, but she was not blind. That evening, I cooked dinner like normal. Bio ate and talked about small things. A funny thing he saw on the street. A man who argued with a bus driver. He laughed and chewed like he didn't have a secret hiding under our floor. I laughed too, but my laugh felt like paper, thin and fake. When it got late, Bio stood and stretched. "I'm going to take a quick walk," he said. "Fresh air." "Okay," I replied. Not too fast, not too slow. He picked his phone and keys, then paused near the hallway. For a second, my eyes followed him, and my heart hammered. He walked under the smoke alarm, and he did it again. Tap, tap. My fingers tightened around the spoon in my hand. He didn't look at me. He didn't act suspicious. He just tapped it the way someone taps a door before entering a room. Then he stepped out. The front door clicked closed. Kemi was washing her plate at the sink, humming softly. She turned her head slightly like she heard the click too. And I took a slow breath through my nose. "Kemi," I said gently, "come and sit with me." She dried her hands and sat beside me on the couch. "What is it, Grandma?" she asked, eyes wide. I wanted to tell her everything, but I couldn't. She was a child, and if this secret was dangerous, I had to protect her from the heavy parts. So I chose my words like stepping stones. "Kemi," I said, "have you noticed anything strange in the new house?" She frowned. "Like what?" "Anything," I said softly. "Any weird sounds, any odd places, any things that look moved." She thought for a moment, then she said, "The carpet in that corner always looks funny. I keep fixing it, but it goes back." My chest tightened. "What corner?" I asked, even though I already knew. She pointed. "That one." I nodded slowly. "Okay." She tilted her head. "Grandma, did Grandpa do something?" The way she said Grandpa made it sound like she was afraid to accuse him. I forced a warm smile. "No, my dear. I just want us to be careful in a new place." Kemi wasn't fully convinced, but she nodded anyway. After she went to bed, I went into my bedroom and locked the door. Then I called Uncle Solar. He answered quickly. "Amara, is it about the house?" My throat tightened. Uncle Solar had always been the one person I could trust without thinking twice. "Yes," I whispered. "It's serious." I told him the safest version of the truth. Not every detail, but enough. I said there was something hidden in the house. I said I saw proof that Bio knew. I said I needed help checking the house without making noise. Uncle Solar went silent for a moment, then he said, "Us do not confront him alone." "I won't," I promised. "I'm coming tomorrow," he said. "Early. I will come like I'm checking a small repair." "Okay," I whispered, relief washing through me like cool water. Before I ended the call, I added, "Solar, please don't tell anyone." "I won't," he said firmly. "But Amara, listen to me. From today, you keep copies of anything important, and you do not argue with him in the house." I swallowed. "Why?" "Because if a house is being used for secret things," he said, "then secret people might be involved." I sat on the edge of the bed, my heart heavy. When I ended the call, I opened my phone again and watched the video one more time with the sound low. I watched Bio lift the floor panel. I watched him take the bundle. I watched him tap the smoke alarm. Then I turned off the screen and stared into the dark. Tomorrow Uncle Solar would come. We would check that corner carefully, quietly, properly, and until then, I would keep acting like everything was normal. Even though my own house no longer felt like mine. Uncle Solar arrived early the next morning, just as the street was waking up. He came with a small tool bag and a calm face, like he was only there to tighten a tap or fix a loose hinge. He greeted Bayo with a friendly nod, then looked around the living room like a man admiring paint. "Fine house," he said. Bayo smiled too quickly. "Thank you. Amara worked hard for it." I kept my expression soft. "Solar, you said you noticed something on the phone. You wanted to check the sockets." "Yes," Uncle Solar replied, playing along. "New house, new wiring. Better to be sure." Bio didn't argue. He only said, "I'll be in the kitchen," and walked away with his phone in his hand. The moment he turned his back, Uncle Solar's eyes met mine. Now. My heart beat hard as I led Uncle Solar to the corner of the living room. The corner Kemi had pointed at without knowing why it mattered. The carpet sat there like it had always sat there. Ordinary, quiet, innocent, but I knew what was under it. Uncle Solar knelt slowly and pressed his palm against the floor, feeling the wood like a doctor feeling a patient's chest. He murmured. What? I whispered. He didn't answer right away. He pulled out a small torch and shone it along the edges where the floor met the wall. Then he tapped the wood lightly with his knuckle. Took, took, took. The sound changed near one spot. Hollow, he said. My mouth went dry. He lifted the carpet corner a little. Under it, the wood looked normal at first, but then Uncle Solar pointed at something I would never have noticed. See this line? He asked. I leaned closer. There was a fine line, thin, neat, like a cut made carefully. It was almost the same colour as the floor, but not perfect. A panel, Uncle Solar said softly. Hidden properly. My hands shook. Can you open it? Yes, he replied, but not like a fool. He looked toward the kitchen doorway. We could hear Bio moving plates. Water ran from the tap. Uncle Solar lowered his voice. If we open it and he walks in, he'll know. If he knows, he'll change everything. I nodded quickly. Then what do we do? Uncle Solar thought for a moment. Then he reached into his bag and pulled out a small screwdriver and a thin, flat tool. When he slid the tool into the line with careful fingers, not forcing it, just testing. The panel lifted a little, just enough to confirm it was real. Then he closed it again. We don't take anything now, he said. First, we learn what it is. Second, we make sure you stay safe. I swallowed, but I need to know what he's hiding. You will, Uncle Solar said, but we will do it in a way that protects you, not in a way that gives him time to blame you. His words made me feel steadier. Not calm, but steadier. Just then, Bio walked in with a glass of water. My heart jumped, but I forced my face to stay normal. Everything fine? He asked. Yes, Uncle Solar replied easily. Sockets are okay, but I noticed your smoke alarm is not sitting straight. I can fix it quickly. Bao's smile froze for half a second. Oh, he said. It's fine. Leave it. Uncle Solar chuckled. Small work. 2 minutes. Bao's eyes flicked to me, then away. No need, it works. I watched his face closely. It wasn't only a normal no. It was a nervous no. Uncle Solar nodded like he accepted it. Okay, no problem. Bio relaxed a little and walked away again. When he left, Uncle Solar leaned close to me. He doesn't want anyone touching that alarm, he whispered. So it matters. I nodded slowly. My stomach felt like it was full of stones. Later, after Uncle Solar left, I went to meet Mrs. Delaney again. Not at her flat this time. Somewhere open. Somewhere with people around. Somewhere safer. We met at a small cafe near a busy road. Cars passed. People talked. A fan turned overhead. It was the kind of place where secrets feel less powerful because the world is listening, Mrs. And Delaney sat with her hands wrapped around a cup she wasn't drinking. She looked even more tired than before. You came, she said. Yes, I replied. Tell me the full truth this time. Her eyes filled quickly and she blinked hard. I'm trying, she whispered. I'm trying to do the right thing. Why did you sell the house so fast? I asked. She looked down at the table, her fingers tightened around the cup. Because I was pushed, she said. By who? I asked. She shook her head. I don't know the real name. People don't always use real names. My chest tightened. Was it about that hidden space? Her face twitched like the question hurt. Yes, she admitted. It started small. A man came with a business smile. He said he wanted to store something for a short time. He said he would pay well. I said no. She swallowed. Then strange things began. My gate would be open when I knew I locked it. I would hear soft knocks at night. Not loud enough for neighbours to complain, just loud enough to scare me. I held my breath. I installed the camera because I felt crazy, she continued. Like the house was turning against me. And one day, I saw someone inside my living room when I was not home. My skin went cold. Did you report it? I asked. She shook her head, ashamed. I was afraid. And then they offered to buy the house quickly. Cash. No stress, no delays. It felt like escape. Did you tell the agent? I asked. She gave a bitter little laugh. The agent already knew too much. Mr. Femi. My mind flashed back to his slippery voice on the phone. I leaned in. Mrs. Delaney, listen to me. My husband is using the same hiding place. Her eyes widened like she already guessed. I saw, she whispered. That's why I called. Did my husband know about it before we bought the house? I asked. Mrs. Delaney hesitated. Then she nodded once, slowly. I can't prove it, she said. But when you came for the final viewing, I saw him look at that corner. Not like a man checking space, like a man checking a mark. My chest burned, so it wasn't random. It was planned. When I returned home later, Kemi was doing homework at the table. She looked up at me and frowned. Grandma, she whispered. Grandpa went out last night again. My heart tightened. Did he come back with anything? Kemi shook her head. No bag, nothing. He just stood in the living room for a minute, looking at the corner. And then he went to bed. I forced a small smile for her. Thank you for telling me. That night, I sat alone in my room and opened all the house papers again. I read every page slowly like it was a puzzle. And there it was, one small line I had not cared about before. A clause about fixtures and devices, written in boring words that felt harmless. Now it didn't feel harmless at all. It felt like a doorway. I closed the file and took a deep breath. I wasn't just dealing with a husband's lie. I was dealing with a house that came with a hidden story, and people who wanted that story to stay buried. So I made a choice in the quiet. From now on, I would not move like a frightened woman. I would move like the owner of the house, careful, prepared, and ready. The next day, I woke up before the sun, and I lay in bed and listened to the house breathe. That sounds strange, but houses do breathe. They creak. They settle. They make small noises when nobody is moving. Before, those sounds made me feel safe, like the house was alive. Now, every small sound felt like a warning. I sat up and looked at Bio sleeping beside me. His face was calm, like a man with no worries, like a man who hadn't been lifting floor panels and tapping smoke alarms like secret code. For a moment, I felt something sharp inside me, not just anger, not just sadness, something colder. A question. Who is the real man I married? I got up quietly and went to the bathroom. I splashed water on my face and stared at my reflection. Amara, I whispered to myself, you will not break. Then I made a plan, a real plan, not a plan made of fear. First, I needed proof that could not be twisted. Second, I needed safety for me and Kemi. Third, I needed to make sure I did nothing that could put me in trouble later. I called Auntie Ronka on my way to work. She answered with her usual strong voice. Auntie Amara, good morning. You sound like someone who didn't sleep. I didn't, I said softly. I need you. Her voice changed. Tell me. I told her the truth, but carefully. I didn't say every detail. I said enough for her to understand this was serious. There was silence on the line. Then she said, You did well not to shout. Some men feed on shouting. When you shout, they say you are mad. I swallowed. What do I do now? You do what you're already doing, she said. You gather facts, and you make sure your next step is clean. Clean, yes, she said firmly. Hey, no hidden spying from you, no illegal tricks, only what you can stand on without shame. I nodded even though she couldn't see me. Okay, she continued, and you don't stay alone with this. I will help you. Your brother will help you. But you must move carefully. After work, I did not go straight home. I met Uncle Solar at a busy place where people were coming and going. He sat with his elbows on the table, eyes serious. You look tired, he said. I am, I replied. But I'm also awake now. He nodded once. Good. I showed him the house papers and pointed at the small line about fixtures and devices. Uncle Solar read it slowly. This wording is too open, he murmured. It can hide many things. That's what I felt, I said. He looked up. We need to protect you. The goal is not just to know. The goal is to survive the knowing. The way he said it made my stomach twist, but I understood. Uncle Solar leaned closer. We will place a legal security camera in your house. Not hidden, visible, proper. If anyone argues, you will say it is for safety. I hesitated. But if Bio sees it, he will stop whatever he is doing. Uncle Solar nodded. Yes, that is part of the trap. I frowned. Trap? He explained in simple words. If he is innocent, he will not fear a normal security camera. If he is hiding something, he will react. His reaction itself becomes information. That made sense. Auntie Ronka joined us later and brought a small notebook and a pen like we were doing office work. She wrote 3 words at the top of the page. Time. Action. Proof. Every strange thing must be written, she said. Dates. Hours. What he did. What he said. No guessing. I stared at the notebook like it was a shield. That evening we went home. I told Bayo casually, Uncle Solar said it's better to put a small security camera in the living room. This new house is a big investment. It will help us feel safe. Bayo's eyes narrowed for a second. A camera? He asked too calmly. Yes, I said lightly. A normal one. Visible. Not hidden. People break into houses these days. He forced a laugh. You and your worries, I smiled. It's not worry, it's wisdom. His smile stayed on his face, but it didn't touch his eyes. Uncle Solar brought out a small camera still in the box and showed it openly like a normal purchase. He fixed it high on the wall, facing the living room. It was clear. Anyone could see it. Bio watched the whole time. He said nothing. But his fingers kept rubbing his phone. When the camera was done, Uncle Solar tested it and left. Night came. We ate dinner. Kemi talked about school. I nodded and asked questions like a normal grandma. I didn't want my fear to spill into her world. After Kemi went to bed, Bayo stood and stretched. "I'll take a walk," he said. I kept my voice gentle. "Okay." He walked toward the hallway. My heart began to pound again. He stopped under the smoke alarm. His hand lifted. Then he froze. For the first time, he looked directly at the new camera on the wall. His face tightened like he tasted something bitter. Slowly, he dropped his hand. He didn't tap the smoke alarm. He didn't look at me. He simply walked out the door without his usual smile. When the door closed, I released a breath I didn't know I was holding. Auntie Ronka, who was still with me in the living room, spoke softly. "You saw that," she said. "Yes," I whispered. "He changed his normal habit because of the camera," she said. "That tells a story." My hands were shaking, but my mind felt strangely clear. For the first time since the phone call, I felt I was not chasing shadows anymore. I was watching a pattern, and patterns don't lie. Later that night, I checked on Kemi and kissed her forehead. She slept peacefully, unaware of the storm in the walls. In my room, I opened the notebook and wrote, "Today, camera installed." Bio noticed. He did not tap the smoke alarm. He left quickly. Then I locked my phone, placed it under my pillow, and sat in the dark. I didn't know yet what was inside that hidden floor space. But I knew this. Bio was afraid of being seen. And if he was afraid of being seen, it meant there was something he never wanted me to discover. I did not sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Bio's hand lifting the floor panel like it was a normal door. I heard the scratchy voice on the phone saying, "You don't give orders." In the morning, I made breakfast like always. I smiled at Kemi. I packed her lunch. I even asked Bio if he wanted tea. He looked at me like he was trying to read my face. I kept my face plain. When Kemi left for school, I did not go to work. I told my boss I needed one more day for family reasons. Then I met Uncle Solar and Auntie Ronka again. This time we didn't meet in a cafe. We met in an office. A small office with a calm woman behind a desk and a nameplate that said Barrister Ijoma. She listened without rushing me. As she watched the videos, she asked simple questions. "Did you put the new security camera in your home for safety?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Is it visible?" she asked. "Yes," Uncle Sola replied. She nodded. "Good. That one is clean." Then her face turned serious. "The old owner's hidden camera is not clean, but the recordings can still help if handled properly. We must not do anything that makes you look like you were part of spying. We present it as what was sent to you after a warning." I swallowed. Will people believe me? Barrister Ijoma looked me straight in the eyes. "If your proof is clear, yes. But you must not confront him alone, and you must not touch what is hidden under that floor." Auntie Ronka leaned in. "So what do we do?" Barrister Ijoma spoke slowly like she was laying bricks. "We report this. We let proper people handle the hidden space. And we watch his behavior on your legal camera. If he reacts, that becomes more proof." My hands were cold. "Report it where?" She didn't say big words. She kept it simple. You report that you suspect your house is being used to store illegal items. You provide your security footage and the messages you received. You do it with a lawyer present. Uncle Solar nodded. That is safer. I felt fear, yes, but I also felt something else. Relief, because for the first time I wasn't carrying the secret alone. That evening, I returned home before Bio did. Uncle Solar came too, but he waited next door with the neighbour he trusted. Auntie Ronka stayed with me inside. Barrister Ijoma had already made the report and told us what to do and what not to do. We didn't set any dangerous trap. We didn't touch the floor. We didn't hide in the dark. We simply waited, calmly, in our own house with the legal camera recording like it was meant to. When Bio entered, his eyes went straight to the camera again. He tried to smile. You people are turning this house into a bank. I smiled back, slow and gentle. A house is worth protecting. He laughed, but it sounded thin. He washed his hands, ate dinner, and acted normal. Too normal. Like a man performing. Then, around late night, he stood up. I'm going to get airtime, he said. I nodded. Okay. He walked toward the hallway. My heart began to beat fast, but I stayed seated. I did not move. Bio stopped under the smoke alarm. He lifted his hand. He looked at the camera again. His jaw tightened. Then he did something different. Instead of tapping the alarm, he pulled a chair quietly and dragged it beneath it. Auntie Ronka's eyes widened. Bio climbed the chair and opened the smoke alarm cover. My stomach turned. He reached inside and pulled out a tiny black piece, like a small device. He stared at it, then cursed under his breath. He jumped down fast and shoved it into his pocket. A second later, his phone rang. He answered in a low voice, but the living room was quiet, and I heard enough. I told you not to call, Bio hissed. The scratchy voice replied. Did you remove it? Bio looked around like he finally realized he wasn't alone in the world. There's a camera in the living room now, he whispered. Something changed? The voice snapped. Use the drop. Take what you must and leave tonight. Bio's eyes moved toward the living room corner, the corner with the hidden panel. My hands trembled, but I kept my face still. Then I stood up. Bio turned like he'd been stung. Amara, he said quickly, forcing a smile. You're awake? Yes, I replied calmly. I'm awake, he swallowed. Why are you looking at me like that? I walked to the wall and gently tilted the security camera screen so he could see the recording light clearly. Then I said, because I know. His face changed, not into anger first, into fear, the kind of fear that makes a person's lies fall apart. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I held up my phone. The previous owner called me. She said she forgot to turn off a hidden camera. She said she saw what you did while I was at work. Bio's eyes widened. I watched his face carefully. Not the face he showed the world, the real one. Oh, you went to her, he whispered. Yes, I said. And I saw the video. I saw you open the floor. I saw you take the bundle. I saw you tap the smoke alarm like a signal. He took a step closer. Amara, listen. I lifted my hand. Don't. My voice was not loud, but it was strong. A knock came at the door. 2 officers stood there with Barrister Ijoma. Bio froze like someone had poured cold water on him. Barrister Ijoma spoke calmly. Good evening. We are here because a report was made about possible illegal storage in this house. Bio's mouth opened, but no words came out. The officers asked simple questions. They did not shout. They did not insult him. They simply asked him to step aside while they checked the home properly. When they opened the hidden floor panel, I didn't go near it. I stood with Kemi's school bag in my hand like a mother bird holding her chick close. Inside the hidden space, the officers found sealed envelopes and wrapped bundles that were not meant to be there. Not family things, not harmless things. Things that looked like they belonged to someone trying to hide money trails and secret deals. Bayo's shoulders sank when he saw them. He tried one last lie. I was only keeping it for someone. I didn't want trouble. Barrister Ijoma's voice stayed calm. You brought trouble into your wife's home. A home she bought. Then came the twist that hurt the most. The scratchy voice didn't belong to a stranger from the street. It belonged to Mr. Femi, the agent. One of the officers played back the call audio that was captured near enough on the camera. When Mr. Femi arrived later to clear things up, his face gave him away before his mouth even opened. He looked at Bio like Bio had failed him, and I understood the full truth in one sharp moment. This house wasn't just sold to me, it was handed over like a tool, and my husband helped them hold the handle. Bio was taken away for questioning. Mr. Femi too. The house became quiet again, but this time it was a clean quiet, not a watching quiet. A few days later, I sat at my dining table with Barrister Ijoma, Uncle Sola, Auntie Ronke. Kemi sat beside me holding my hand. I'm sorry, Grandma, Kemi whispered. I kissed her forehead. This is not your burden, my dear. Then I made my choice, and Bio would not return to live under my roof. Not after turning my home into a hiding place. Not after making my work hours the perfect time for secrets. I changed the locks. I removed every old device. I installed proper security. I made the house mine in a way it had never been before. When I stood in the living room again, the same sunlight came through the windows. The same couch sat in the same place, but I was different. I was no longer the woman just happy to have a new house. I was the woman who protected it. And that night, when Kemi hugged me and said, Grandma, are we safe now? I looked around my home and answered with the truth. Yes, I said. We are safe, because I finally opened my eyes.